Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me a screen. My name is Gawel Solosky from Bengal University. I will today talk about dark fermentation from sour cabbage. What it is sour cabbage? Sour cabbage is especially conserved cabbage by means of is preserved by means of bacteria in process called pickling. This is the old process known from China. And in China and the Asia is known as sour cabbage and kimchi. And then after Mongolian raids to the Europe, it was transferred to Europe and Poland and Germany. And in these countries, the lactic acid bacteria preparation is called of cabbage is known as sauerkraut or sour cabbage. In Europe, was more developed into also cucumbers. So picked cucumbers we have also after some time, but most advantage of this food was that it wasn't rattling, so it was very uh, good material, good feed for the journeys because you could take it and wasn't spoiling. The sour cabbage is after some time decreasing the organic matter and more sour, more lactic acid, and this causing to lowering pH to even 4. This reason was the such case that low pH material was reason that we choose to produce in hydrogen production by means of dark fermentation. Why? Dark fermentation is a special kind of anaerobic digestion. This is causing here, in this case, will process after our conversion of substrate by bacteria, normally naturally to bacteric acid and hydrogen in acetogenesis and process not go further. The optimal uh, pH is pH of 5 to 6, or even can be lower in some cases, but not very high, good as optimal considered by downside from 5 to 6. And decide that if we check the substrate that is normally in a low pH range, this could be used also as a co-substrate to keep low pH of feed side. Because if we have waste that is not very high, but we can low by pH of sour cabbage, which means then we can use. So we need to first check how is the same sour cabbage. And the sour cabbage has different organic content during the case. So all the sour cabbage, more longer pickling, more longer lactic acid fermentation, the smaller organic content, more lactic acid by small organic mass is inside, less sugar. Therefore, as a result, fat fermentation which favors sugars, because this is optimal material for dark bacteria. Less protein, because sour cabbage often contains the proteins from cabbage inside, which is some 0.1%, but it consists some proteins. So is until this proceeding, the bacteria that the process goes, we choose both sides because we choose the first purpose was we choose untreated inoculum. So because we chose in untreated because to deserve how long can be produced hydrogen if without digestion. Because of a few examples, of course, in case of our teeth or our wounds, in case of Clostridium perfringens infection. Well, this fermentation occurs unfavorable to us, destroying. And this is untreated inoculum. Inoculum in this case is not specially prepared, but we in the laboratory, we cannot repeat. So we decided that maybe case when we use sour cabbage would be this case. But it wasn't. Because after week of our process, methane production goes. But still quite longer than usually, because usually is 1 day of of hydrogen production. So in the case of sour cabbage, if untreated inoculum, after 1 week we have methane production that calms this process. In the case of untreated, because treated, we use in this as method as heat shock, which is mostly popular method. So heat shock is laying the bacterial layer, bacteria reacting layer of the process into stress, which is high heating, so boiling the bacteria for 15 minutes to return them position into the sporage form. Because the highest hydrogen production occurs when bacteria wake up from the stress, dangerous feeling that danger is overcome, and start to develop to unsporage form. During this, the hydrogen production is the highest. In this case, the bacteria are eating rest, also from, however, not some bacterial rest, bacteria from this form. And this is the reason that appears beside hydrogen production, hydrogen sulfide, which is too high, that couldn't be only for for cabbage inside. So have both reasons for this. Mostly it comes from this bacteria. Therefore, we can use this as the same products, and we have gained some quite big production of hydrogen. For 2 weeks or 3 weeks, then we need to repeat our treatment of inoculum. If we mix the materials, it wasn't so high because sour cabbage is an lactic acid inside. It's not strong acid. Therefore, we needed to keep in low pH, still adding mineral acids. Therefore, only way that we can is maybe overloaded by sour cabbage, and that is too low pH for dark fermentation. we needed to overcome. But as a substrate, an additional substrate is fine because however bacteria dislikes to choose first cabbage, keeping this lactic acid bacteria and developing more picking form. And by this, they use, for example, more carefully to choose firstly to eat, for example, cotton than sour cabbage. Therefore, was as result was higher production of from cotton for the conversion, and the result was the higher hydrogen production higher than for only for cotton, but lower than only for sour cabbage. This is the doubts and observation that needs to be performed. But this shows the possibilities of removing also this waste because sometimes, of course, even sour cabbage after if is keeping well or as food waste in the restaurant because restaurant has trouble that don't sell all products and sometimes clients and have some waste and sour cabbage is which is waste, so it's quite big trouble. So we see that we can replace some method by sour cabbage fermentation as good additive for other substances. Thank you very much.